Hey guys, it's Dr. Danny. How's everybody doing? Y'all doing good with your Mercury retrograde? Holy cow. Is everyone pausing, listening to their divine channels? I sure hope so. Today I just want to come on here and talk about May 1st. I was actually going to write an article about it, in particularly there's this mystic square that's going on, but there's so much there. So I thought I would just do a video because sometimes it's easier for me to talk about it. In particular on May 1st, which is Monday, there are 3 events going on astrologically. Okay. The first one is that Mercury is going to form an inferior conjunction with our sun. Now, if you guys don't know what that is, see my previous video about Mercury retrograde. I go into it in great detail. I'm going to cover it a little bit today, but real quickly, okay? Also, the moon T-squares Neptune and Venus and forms a mystic square with the galactic center. So I'm going to break that down, each piece of that, and it's going to tell this really beautiful story that I hope you guys enjoy. And then the final thing I want to talk about is Pluto in retrograde. Okay, so I hope you guys can hear me. I'm going to just check my sound real quick. Yep, it looks good. Okay, so I guess maybe what I'll do is just share my screen and pull up the chart with you guys, because this is good stuff. Let me pull this up first. This is the chart for May 1st. Okay, so here are the big things that are actually going on. We have this superior conjunction with Mercury and the Sun. We have Pluto stationing retrograde. And then we've got this T-square with the Moon, Venus, Neptune, and the galactic center. Okay, so I'm going to dive into all of that real quick with you guys. Let me just minimize this guy real quick, and I want to show you the celestial mechanics of Mercury, just so you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so this box here on the bottom right is May 1st. This is Monday. And what you're going to see is Earth, Mercury, and the Sun. Okay, this is an inferior conjunction between Mercury and the Sun from the Earth's perspective. So what does that mean? Well, if you want to get real deep into it, if you check out my Mercury retrograde video, I go all into this. But essentially, Mercury is the closest to Earth that it is going to be in its entire 88-day cycle. Okay, so Mercury, briefly, Mercury is that transmitter and receiver of divine source information. So it is constantly just vibrating and rotating around the sun every 88 days. And so when it's right here, right in front of us, right in front of our faces, it's intense. It's a lot of energy. It is so much that sometimes people can't pay attention to what they're doing because it's so much information. And Mercury is also going to be conjunct Uranus, which is way out here behind the sun. So that conjunction can also add a lot of like idiosyncronicities or erratic bursts of information. Okay, so be prepared. And this is not just May 1st. This energy is building. It's been building since back here when we were in March 17th, but now it's coming to its peak right now, or on Monday on May 1st. Okay, so what are you guys doing? I hope that you guys are literally just sort of sitting quietly with your mind, because this is the best time to receive ideas and inspirations until another 88 days. Okay, what's going to happen afterwards is that Mercury is going to lose its power because it's going to start speeding away from us, and then it'll go station direct in a couple of weeks and then swing back around the other side of the sun. Okay, so this is Mercury energy. Monday is going to be the most intense part of your Mercury retrograde, because you're going to be literally overloaded unless you're really vibrating on that high Mercury frequency, which is hard for a lot of people. Okay, so that is Mercury in its inferior conjunction on May 1st. I hope you guys pay attention to that. That's going to be a big day for that kind of energy. The next thing that I want to talk about is this amazing mystic square that we have going on. Okay, so there's some really interesting energies in this, and I'm just going to tell you the story in the sky. Okay, first we're going to talk about Venus. Venus is hanging out in Taurus. She's actually literally on this day conjunct the stars of Orion. And Venus is one of those planetary energies that's in all of us, okay? And Venus attains the highest enlightenment through her experience of the senses, okay? Her energy embodies all that is the divine feminine. And her power is fully expressed in the highest octave when she is comfortable and surrounded by beauty. And she is, because she's in her home constellation of Taurus. Okay? Venus also requires security and harmony so that when her enormous creative power is unleashed, it can be channeled towards the highest intentions. So she's comfortably transiting Taurus. This is her house. She's just experienced the eclipse last Wednesday night, Thursday, without any aspects whatsoever. And she's in this very healing sextile with Chiron. She started this transit with the moon conjunct herself in Taurus, and then we're going to end it on Thursday with a Leo moon sextiling Venus. So Venus is feeling very healed, very optimistic, and she's literally ready to explore the vastness of her higher octave, which is Neptune. Okay, so how does Neptune achieve enlightenment? Well, Neptune does that through all that is possible. Okay, the divine potential, universal love, and cosmic consciousness are the energies of a fully integrated Neptune. Neptune is a feminine energy. She evolves by dissolving boundaries to access source. So, and as you can see, Neptune is also in her home constellation of Pisces, which is all about dissolving the duality and becoming one with source. Okay, so we have this, very strong dissolving, connecting to source energy with Neptune there. And we also have these two very friendly planets, each in their own home. Okay, Venus and Neptune love each other. They love each other. Unfortunately, because in a transit, the faster moving planet is initiating the transit, right? So Venus is faster moving. She is initiating this square between them. Miss Neptune is just getting into her house. She's just getting Pisces in order, It takes her 165 years to orbit through the whole zodiac. So she's got plenty of time. She has no rush. And then all of a sudden, here comes Miss Venus, with her 2-week square, with some very conflicting and intensely optimistic energy after her sextile with Chiron and her sextile with the moon. So Neptune may be a bit of a downer for the bubbly, juicy Venus that's coming in on May 1st. It's almost like the higher self is coming in and just saying, hey, be cool, little sister. It may not work out the way you want it to, but it's going to work out, So Neptune can also be a bit apathetic about Venus's big dreams, right? So, watch out for extreme emotions. I talked about this in the Venus transits video, which is still very relevant. So please check that out. But, Venus can be feeling very excited right now or very down. And either way, Neptune is going to bring you to the center and to the depths. So to the center and to the depths with Venus. So wherever Venus is at, Neptune's going to pull you down and in the middle. So Neptune can also represent a vastness that Venus may not be comfortable with, right? So how does Venus acquire her security and her comfort in the vastness? I mean, we may have to start questioning ourselves and like what we value. You know, I would say do this constructively or with intention. Or Neptune may actually take you to the depths of apathy with her. I think it's also really important during this square to be okay with fuzzy boundaries or be really careful with relationships that already have fuzzy boundaries. So that's Venus and Neptune. And then we have this moon over here at the cusp of Virgo, kind of coming in and doing a drive-by. It's the third of the feminine planets that we have. I think it's Venus, Neptune, and the moon are the feminine planets in the arcana of the zodiac. So, you know, so we have this balancing with Neptune's energy and this opposition. They're like on a seesaw, right? Checking Venus's energy with a square. And so I can almost imagine Venus lost in the apathetic depths, you know, of a square with Neptune, and possibly even at the bottom of the ocean of Pisces, you know. And then in comes this heartfelt Leo Virgo moon that she can see from the depths. You know, imagine, I don't know if any of you scuba. I used to scuba. But if you've ever done a night dive, you can see the moon from the bottom. You can see the moon from the bottom of the water, from the sand on the bottom of the ocean. And it's actually really quite spectacular. And so imagine Venus kind of getting pulled into the depths of Neptune, and all of a sudden she can see this waxing moon, you know, above the water, kind of shimmering. And maybe she's ready to leave and follow the moon, or maybe she doesn't want to leave. You know, so that moon is kind of checking her and saying, are you okay? Do you want to come out of these depths, or do you want to stay here and do this for a little while? So all three of these amazing feminine energies kind of remind me of the triple goddess energy, you know, the young, the middle-aged, and the old, all combining to create this very powerful T-square that mystic squares with the galactic center. Now, the galactic center, it doesn't move like the other aspects on a chart. So it's kind of more important if you have something there already in your natal chart. So if you have your moon there in the galactic center, or your Jupiter's over there, you know, this energy may be a little bit different for you. But in general, if you look at the galactic center, this is a vortex of tremendous power where all creation stems from. So it kind of makes me wonder, you know, on Monday, it may not be obvious to all of us, but what is this beautiful, mystic, feminine energy that is about to be unleashed or unboxed by this mystic square? So I just found that very interesting. I didn't want to write that up in an article because there's more of a feeling to it, that divine feminine feeling to it. And I want you guys to connect with me on that. Now, how this is going to affect you literally depends on where your moon is, where your Venus is, where your Neptune is, and if, like I said, if you have anything in your galactic center. So guys, check your own charts or book me to do it for you. I have plenty of spots. We can sit down for an hour or so and kind of go over what this mystic square might mean for you. Now, the last thing that I wanted to look at on May 1st that I felt like was pretty darn important, because, you know, I've been sitting with some Pluto energy for a little while, just trying to figure out how it's affecting me. Right now, it's in my 8th house. It's trining my natal Pluto in the 5th house. So I got a lot of flow, creation, sexual energy going on in my life right now. It's really quite fantastic. But for some people, Pluto energy is not so good. And so I kind of wanted to share with you maybe an analogy that might help you deal with Pluto energy a little bit better, especially as it stations retrograde, because, you know, as we station retrograde with any planet, it's an inflection point in their cycle. And it's always a good time to sort of, you know, center yourself and say, okay, what's happening with my Pluto energy? So some of you may not know this, but I was actually a semi-professional musician performer about 12 years ago. I wrote my own songs. I played the guitar. I sung in a band. It was actually Dr. Danny and the Hitch, and drdanny.com used to be about my band, but I still have the website. So now it's about being an astrologer. But anyway, you know, when you're a professional musician, you've got your instrument. Your voice is your instrument. Your guitar is your instrument. And when you play with other people or when you play by yourself and you're really feeling, there's a force. There's a creative energy that comes through your body into your instrument, which is your voice or your guitar. If you've ever watched the show The Voice or American Idol, you can see these people, these young musicians, they've really tapped into it. And what you will find is that I kind of relate Pluto to that creative force. Pluto is also a destructive force, but creation and destruction are the same sides, are different, are the opposite, sorry, are the opposite sides of the same coin. Okay. So when you're playing a song, when you're singing a song, when you're expressing yourself, you're using your body or the instrument as the tool to express that creation or that destruction. Because some songs are pretty dark, right? I mean, I've heard some pretty gross songs. So, so for me, when I look at my guitar, because I would play the shit out of that guitar, you know, sing my heart out, you know, and it didn't matter how well the guitar was playing or how well my voice, it was just emoting. But what you realize through mastery is that you have to tune your guitar. You have to polish your guitar. You have to make sure that the pickup's working. You have to make sure that the strings are good. You have to make sure your nails are cut. You have to make sure you got good calluses, that you've trained your voice, that you are not straining yourself, that you're using the right technique. Okay. And so when I see Pluto moving from one phase to the other, I see direct movement as the expression of that creation destruction energy, and retrograde as the time to repair. Okay, so now the show's over. And what did we learn from the show? What songs worked good? What did I, you know, what can I learn from the technical aspect with hooking up all the sound equipment, you know? And that's what retrograde is going to do. It's going to say, how's your instruments? How are you doing? How's your guitar? Like, is it in tune? Are the strings straight up? Like, is it polished? Does your pickup work? You know, is your voice trained? Are you well? So that's what this time's going to be about. And I just thought that was a really cool, like, analogy to sort of think about Pluto energy. Pluto energy is just the force going through you, and you are the instrument. So tune your strings, kids, you know, polish your guitar, clean your room up, fix your stuff, get yourself in order, because October is when Pluto goes direct again. And Pluto's energy is going to start coming at you. And how are you going to sound? Are you going to sound out of tune? Are you going to sound funky? Are you going to sound like you don't know what you're doing? Or are you going to master yourself? When that energy comes through, you're going to handle it. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with, you guys. I mean, this is astrology. I'm going to tell you one more cool story before I let you go. I have a friend of mine, we'll just leave his name private, has some trouble with relationships. Okay, he's kind of attracting always the wrong lady, and he's always saying, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why don't I get the right lady? Why can't I have someone who's intelligent? Why can't I be like you and your husband? You know, we get that a lot. And so I finally said, okay, what's your birthday, date, time, location? And I looked it up, and the poor guy has Chiron in the 7th house in Pisces. So he said, that's it. That's it, my friend. You are looking for the wounded person that you can heal. You're projecting the wounds inside yourself onto your partners. And so you're always attracting the wounded woman to you. So what I did is I looked in his 6th house, which is right under the 7th house. And he had a moon in Aquarius. And I said, friend, you need to find someone that speaks about ideas, speaks about things that are bigger than individual humans, and doesn't tend to talk about themselves too much or other people. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully he can find the woman of his dreams. But that's kind of what astrology can do for you guys. Oh, and then one more thing I forgot to mention is that Jupiter actually started a square on the 23rd, which was Sunday, with Pluto, which lasts until 6/8. This is a long transit. There's going to be a lot of time for development. But because Pluto is going to station retrograde on the 1st, there's an opportunity for an expansive or very spiritual look at your instrument. Okay, like we talked about, how's your guitar playing? So we can talk about more about this later, but I just wanted you guys to kind of get the update, kind of get the energies that I was feeling about May 1st. Please check out drdanny.com. Please check out my $13 Sun, Moon, and Rising report. It is based on the True Sky 13 sign, True Sky sidereal astrology. If you're not used to this kind of astrology, it will get you started. I also do readings. I also do quick consults. So hit me up. And until next time, namaste.